Hey, who's in the chat? Yes, this will be the final live class until August. It won't be the last time I see you though. Hopefully not. Let's see who's here. Stray Kids was first. Lola, Purple Place, Ruchi, Lalu. I can't pronounce some of your names. I'm sorry. Keith, Mikey, Nyaru, Claire, Cosma. Welcome. Really quick, checking here. Lynn. Amber, Flo, Malwini. I can't pronounce some of these names. Chad, Kai, Kat. Welcome. Mal, Dan Frulani. That's a very Italian style name. If I spoke Italian, but I don't. Cosma says, I want to listen to Korean podcasts. Would that be any helpful? Oh, heck yes. Yes, 100% yes. This is a common misconception. I don't know, maybe it's not a common misconception. I'm just saying that so it sounds cooler, like I know what I'm talking about. But I've heard a lot of people say that you have to use, like you have to study from the stuff you're using for listening practice. That's absolutely not the case. Will you get more out of your resources if you're studying the words? Oh yeah, if you look up the grammar forms, that you're going to learn the grammar forms faster. Great. But if you can't do that, you're still getting a lot out of listening practice. By listening to stuff, you get better at listening. Isn't that crazy? Can you believe it? When you do lots of listening, you get better at listening. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, no, it works fine. Now, you're not going to be learning a lot of the words from there because the problem is you won't be able to pick up new words unless they explain them in the show. Like if they're saying, oh, today we're going to be talking about this, and they explain this, then you're like, oh, okay, well, then you can learn the word. Otherwise, you need to already have a decent level. You need to be understanding like most of the stuff to pick up new words, but that doesn't really matter. You're still going to be able to understand the gist of it a lot better. So yeah, 100%. In fact, I used to do that all the time. See who else is here. X-Star Lena, welcome. I bought my tickets for my Korean trip in October. Nice. October is an awesome time to go. Beginning of October is a little hot. End of October is nice and cool. Middle of there is probably both cool in the morning and hot in the daytime. I don't know. But yeah, October's a great time to go. Let's see who else is here. LDK, Ashley, Ruya, Rammer, Kaiden, Alex. Happy Children's Day in Korea. Oh, that's true. Yeah, there's like everything going on. This month has all of the Korean holidays. Like Kids Day, Parents Day, Buddha's birthday. There's a lot of stuff going on this month. Teacher's Day, I believe, also. Is that right? I think so. Anyway, yeah. Mother's Day in the US. Make sure to call your moms, everyone. If you haven't spoken with them in a while, give them a call. Be like, oh, what are you doing, son? Well, I'm learning Korean. I don't know. Just give them a call, okay? Don't be that son or daughter. Don't be that kid. Jinxie, welcome. Kaiden, I don't know where to start. Check out my beginner course. I'll post the link in the chat. If I can get her, I'm blocking my keyboard. Let me get, it's over here. My keyboard's over here. Okay, I think this would work. Beginner. Does that work? Or the beginner course? I can't remember. Oh, it's beginner course. Okay. Yeah, it's there. So watch that. That's all I can tell you. That's got everything. I mean, you don't even need my classes. Although usually the stuff I teach here is like higher than the basic stuff. But yeah, watch that first. That'll get you to like a foundation where you can start building a lot of stuff on top of it. Though the topic we're going to be doing today, I don't believe I covered in the beginner course because it's a little bit higher than the basics of the basics. but it's still used all the time. And we're going to be learning about it in excruciating detail. This is like the longest class I've had. This is the longest live stream I've ever prepared in like years. Goes on to 2 pages. I haven't prepared a class this long, probably in like 3-4 years. I used to do it all the time with my early live streams before I really knew what I was doing with live streams or how to structure the classes. But this topic is just gigantic. So I'll do my best to keep it within the time. I still want to try to finish it in an hour or so, but yeah, it's a lot of stuff to go over. I spoke to my mom in Korean until she said she hates me and hung up. That's good. What a good son. You wait until she says that she hates you. You wait for her to hang up first. That's respectful. I like that. I really want to know BTS of last week. What does BTS of last week mean? A super long stream as your bon voyage is so fitting. Yeah, this will be the last class, like I said, until August. Probably August 9th, I think. Unless, like, you know, I'm too exhausted after the trip or something like that and I can't do it, in which case it would be the next Sunday after that. Probably August 9th will be our next class after this. But I will see you again. I'll try to do a bunch of live streams from Korea. They just won't be any classes because I really tried. I tried to fold this board up and put it in my suitcase. But when I tried that, it just snapped into 2 pieces. It didn't work. So I'm not going to try that again. These boards are kind of expensive. So yeah, well, we won't be able to get any classes while I'm there, but we will still have, I'll still give you guys a tour of some areas. We'll hang out, check out some cool places. I don't know where I'll go yet, but I have some ideas ready. A few places I wanted to take you guys last time, but we didn't have an opportunity, or the weather wasn't good, or it was too hot. Will you talk about difference between 사오다 and 사고오다? We're not going to be going, I was like trying to say no and not that, and it came out as nah. No, I've already taught actually 사오다. That would be a separate live stream about the conjugated verb with oda and kada, which is a different form. I did a live stream though, so I would check that out. That one I explain the difference, but this one is specifically about the ko, oda, and ko, kada form, and just this form alone is 2 pages. Like, we can't do any other comparisons just because it's already enough just to talk about this. It's not complicated at all. It's beginner level, but there are just so many things you can do with this form. We're going to be talking about ko kada, ko oda, how to use it with other motion verbs besides those 2, how to use it with the verb tanida, how to use it with the verb tada, and one more thing. Oh yeah, and then a bunch of notes talking about where you can get related forms. So a couple other related forms we'll talk about at the very end that I'm not teaching, just mentioning. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff for today. Behind the scenes. Oh, was there behind the scenes? Jeonju. Yeah, I've never been to Jeonju before. I was going to go there. I had a friend. Well, I still have the friend. They moved, they left Korea. They live in Singapore, I believe, right now. And I was thinking of going to Jeonju together, actually. I had suggested it and they're like, oh, that'd be cool. Let's do it. I'll go with you. But then it didn't end up working out. We didn't have time and then they moved away. So I have still not had a chance to go there. Jeonju is famous for bibimbap. So usually people go there to get bibimbap, and there are some like Buddhist temples there, I believe, as well, like some famous places. I've never seen it. I know nothing about it. That would be cool to visit. I just don't typically travel places by myself. So I'll have to see if there's one of the people I'm meeting this time that wants to go to Jeonju, then maybe. I might go to Incheon though. I've never really been to Incheon. The airport's there, so like I've been there 100 times, but never stepped foot out of the airport. But there is some stuff there that's cool that I've never been to, never explored, that I know exists. Like there's a really cool Chinatown there. They've got a nice beach. They have a couple other places to visit I've just never been. So I might go there this time. The Korean concept of coming and going. We'll be talking about that. Okay, let's see if I skipped something. Oh, I did see Dan made a comment in Korean, which I didn't read. I'm checking that. I see I started learning Korean thanks to you. Oh, nice. Nice, nice. 머지않아 한국어로만 영상을 찍을 수 있는 날이 오면 좋겠어요. Nice. That'd be cool. There's some beautiful pottery artists. I knew absolutely nothing about that. Is there like a pottery? I almost said pottery barn. Is there a pottery barn in Incheon? No. Is there like a like a bunch of markets for that? Is that like you can buy pot? They have like a pottery market or something. How long does it take to learn Korean? Every time you ask that question, it takes an extra month. I'm unfortunately, it's just something with Korean. When someone asks how long does it take, the time it'll take you extends a month. So I recommend not asking that question. It'll only make things more difficult. But if you've never asked that question before, then you probably are already fluent at Korean. But yeah, that's the reason. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it takes a month. If someone's never asked it, if people ask it a lot, it can take them, 2-3 years. But the fastest I've ever seen someone go from nothing to being able to have conversations is about 8 months. And that's like really fast. And that person only asked, how long does it take to learn Korean? I think 7 times in their entire life. So that's why it took them 8 months. But I've never seen anyone ask fewer than 7 times. So most of the time people ask about 24 times to 36 times. I'd say that's a good average for someone who's like living in Korea, studying it every day. But I've seen some cases where people they keep asking that every single month, and then they'll go on like 5 years and they still can't speak. It's kind of complicated, but that's kind of the secret of how it works. I found my old 5-subject notebook from when I started learning. I was convinced I was going to write my own dictionary to reference. Yes. Yes. Don't do this, but I did it anyway. It's pretty much the moral of the story. Which universities are you all planning on going to in South Korea? If you're someone interested in a university in Korea, I would say pick it by the location, not necessarily by... I mean, you're talking about actual university. You're not talking about like a language program that a university like sponsors or works with, but like actually just attending university. I would say pick one in an area that you want to live in, because if you're not planning on getting a job as a Korean person at a Korean company, it doesn't really matter that much which university you went to. Like if you want to be a dentist, you want to be a doctor, well then yeah, it matters. But you're not going to do that, right? You just want to you're just going to school in Korea just to go to school in Korea. Maybe you want to study like a humanities major, like you want to do a language there. You want to study, fashion or art or something like that. That the place you're getting a job at won't care so much where you went. They'll just care about your portfolio. Just pick a place you want, I would say. And yeah, it's usually going to be somewhere in Seoul. That's where most people want to be, but it's up to you. There are a lot of good universities like all around Korea. Foreign K-pop idols say they learn Korean in 6 months to a year. But yeah, that's not really true. It'll depend how you define learn. Usually what they're referring to is when they feel like they can communicate a lot of their basics that they want to say, which can happen between, I'd say, I've never seen 6 months ever, but I've seen a couple people like really good at learning languages where it's happened in like 8-9 months, where they start to be able to say everything they want to say. But that's still within the range of 6 months to a year. But that's not what I would consider, or anyone would consider fluent or like quote unquote speaking Korean. I would say that starts at the conversational level. So like the beginning of the intermediate level is when you start having basic conversations. And yeah, for that, usually it's like a year and a half if you're studying regularly. So yeah, don't push yourself. Don't compare yourself to what other people say. A lot of times they don't know themselves when they started or how they're studying or how long it took. Sometimes I've seen, I won't call anyone out, but sometimes I've seen some videos where people talk about like how I learned Korean in X number of months or X number of years. And then I hear them speaking Korean, and my only thought is they don't speak very much. And they're telling people that they learned Korean. You got to make sure you're honest about how much learn to speak Korean means. Because I can say one word and I'm speaking Korean, or I can have, a conversation about, astrophysics and say I speak Korean. So you have to kind of get that into context. Someone telling you they learned this this much Korean in this much time should also tell you, or you can ask them, what's your level? How comfortable are you with this? Or, what sort of things can you talk about? Because there isn't really a definition to the word fluent. It's whatever the person wants it to be. And I say that just because I think that kind of thing can be more demotivating than motivating. If you try to learn Korean because you saw someone else said that it took, they spent a year, or they spent 6 months, or they spent 3 months, or whatever they say. And then even if you were saying that's true, which like I said, often it's not, but even if we say that's true, then you study for that long and there's only one emotion you could possibly feel after that. And that's demotivation, because that's not a possible thing to get. Incheon Ceramics Village. Okay, that would explain it then. If they have some cool ceramic, maybe I could get it and add it to my podcast set. This year, I'm going to try to see if there's anything I can I'm going to be changing up the podcast for later after I come back from Korea. Maybe there will be something I can change or put here. Pottery could be cool. I wish I could get some of that old, cheongja, the old, bluish pottery, from Goryeo Dynasty and stuff like that. Some real stuff. That would be cool. Not the imitation stuff, but the real one. And then put it in my podcast set. And then accidentally kick it over and be like, no. And then people will be like, that's real, Billy? And I'm like, yeah, it was actually real. I know, I shouldn't have put it in a set for filming where I'm walking around. But I still want to do it. It would be cool. We'll get started with the class. We'll get started with the class in 8 minutes. Don't worry. All you hear are early right now. Foreign K-pop idols are not ordinary people. They're multi-talented. And that's why they're in Korea. Yes, but language abilities are not the same. You can be the best dancer, singer, extremely intelligent, and that does not mean you'll learn Korean well. High IQ does not mean you'll learn Korean well. It's a completely different skill. So yeah, like I said, don't compare yourself to other people for how long it takes someone to learn Korean. You don't know how they studied, and you don't know what they're talking about when they say their language ability. And if you hear them talk, I can tell someone's Korean level by hearing them talk for a bit, but that's not you won't get to hear that though. You will only hear, by definition, someone's Korean in a edited video or very, very short bursts in a live stream that does not indicate someone's Korean level. So you can't know that. You would have to know all that before you can compare yourself to someone else. So if you know someone personally, and they talk with you in Korean, they show you their notes, they talk about what they can and can't do and exactly when they started, then I think it's fine to compare yourself, because you can know, oh, they did this. This is how they studied. This is what they learned. And this is how much they can do it. I've done that. And I did, it can be useful for for learning. And that's something that a tutor might be able to help you with, is kind of going over exactly what you're learning and where you are and give you honest feedback. But a regular learner isn't going to be able to do that. What do you think about the advanced Korean level? It exists. The truth is out there. The advanced level does exist. 저는 중급인 것 같은데 얘기할 때는 너무 어색해요. Well, that's fine. You're not going to get, if it wasn't awkward to talk, you would be an advanced level. So you're doing something right, Helen. Yeah. If you say, I feel like I can speak Korean, but I feel like, yeah, I'm pretty conversational. I just don't quite have it yet. Congratulations, you're in the intermediate level. Woohoo! That's great. You're in the intermediate plateau if you're depressed about it. If you're not, you're in the intermediate level. So that's good. How do you get out of that? Well, I'm actually going to be making another video about that in Korea, hopefully this time. If not, you can ask me when I get back if I haven't made the video. But yeah, I should be making a video about that too. But you basically just keep going. Do more listening practice. Increase the amount of listening and speaking practice you're doing to make it more comfortable. But you have to do it a lot before it starts feeling comfortable. I didn't feel comfortable speaking Korean for a few years, where it's I could just speak and not have to stress or anything. And some topics would still be uncomfortable for a while after that, just because you're not used to talking with a friend about everything. Mostly it's you get good at talking about the weather or your favorite foods or why you like Korea. And then and then as soon as they say, oh, so what are your plans for the summer vacation? And you're like, I like Korean. Korea is great. you lose that fluency in a different topic. So it'll just take time, but that's great if you got there. Okay, we'll start the class in just 5 minutes. I'm not saying this for you, I'm saying this for me so I don't go over. My coworkers know I've been learning for like 2 years and they tell people she speaks Korean. Well, that's the whole issue with the word fluent or speaking is it's completely arbitrary. So you can tell people that you speak Korean. I mean, I told people I spoke Korean when I had only been learning it for like a few months when I was living in Korea. Be like, oh, you can speak Korean? Oh yeah, I speak Korean. I'm not that great, but I speak it, right? I speak Japanese. I'm not good at it, but I can quote unquote speak, right? If I'm in a group of people and no one knows any of the words, I would be the one that would talk. So yeah, by definition, I speak Japanese, right? Yeah, sure. I'm not fluent at it, but doesn't matter. Kaiden says, after your course, watch the course first. That question, I guarantee you, will disappear. It will disappear. But actually go through the course slowly, do it correctly, one at a time in order, take notes along the way. I mean, I tell you all this stuff in the course too, so just pay attention when the course tells you to do stuff. Like if it gives you tips, every 20 episodes, there's a introduction part that gives tips for how to use the course better. Watch all of those. And you will not have that question anymore when it's over, I guarantee you. Intermediate plateau since 2022. Well, yeah, and the intermediate plateau is like, I'll talk about it, but it's kind of fictional that it exists in your mind, but you are getting better. It's just you're not at the advanced level because the intermediate level is so much bigger. It feels like you're just stuck in there forever, even when you do improve. Of course, a lot of people, what they do in the intermediate level is they don't continue improving. They just kind of coast on what they know. They think that if I just keep, occasionally using it a little bit, 5 minutes a day or whatever, then I'll eventually get better. But that 5 minutes a day that got you through most of the beginner level is no longer enough to get you through the intermediate, just because it's so much stuff to go through. And there's so many versions of all the forms you're learning. It's not hard. It just takes time that you have to increase the amount of input and output practice you're doing. Otherwise, you're not going to see yourself actually improving. You just kind of see yourself at best skating along and maintaining your language. But more specifics, you'll need to talk with a tutor for that. They can tell you analyze what you're doing, see show me your notebook, show me what type of studying you're doing and everything, and then kind of give you advice for what you should be doing. But a lot of it is just like you need to severely increase the amount of input and output that you're doing. Because yeah, Korean's, it's a language. You got to use it. How long is the live stream? Hopefully not too long, but usually the lessons are like an hour to an hour and a half for the longest ones. Today might be an hour and a half lesson. We'll see, but at least an hour. I'm not bold enough to invite misunderstandings by saying I speak Korean yet. You know what? I don't either. I actually don't tell people I speak Korean unless I already talk Korean. If someone asks me, like if I'm talking with someone on like a language exchange app and they're like, oh, do you speak Korean by chance? And I'll always be, 조금 해요. I can speak it a little bit, or I'll give him a different thing. Like I might say, 뭐 어느 정도 하는 것 같아요. 근데 뭐 잘하지는 못하지만, 완벽하지는 못하지만 is what I'll usually say. Like I'll write it. But if you tell them that you speak Korean, it sounds like you're bragging. In Korea, they don't do that. It's just a cultural difference that bragging is not seen as cool. Like showing off, you show off by the things that you have, by just existing. Like people will see if you have a nice bag or a nice clothes. You don't need to go up to people and tell them, oh yeah, this watch, it's $4,000. They'll know. People who know will know that your clothes are from here, or your bag is from here. So you don't need to show off like that. They'll know you have money or not. If you speak Korean, they'll know because they hear you. That is showing off. Just doing it at all is the showing off part. You tell them though you do, that's bragging. That looks bad. You don't want to do that. That's why Koreans are always like, 아니에요, whenever you compliment them, or they give you a gift. 별거 아니에요. Like, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. It's just all that, the culture of being humble in speech. but you brag through actions or existing or doing things, not through your words. So I'll say the same thing if people ask me about my Korean. I think I've only jokingly ever said my Korean's good. I've never seriously said my Korean's good because that wouldn't sound cool. They'll know, they know your Korean ability. If they hear you say something, they'll know, like, oh, they actually speak Korean. You don't have to tell them, they'll know. Since the conversation course is native level, do you recommend finishing all 3 books? I would say the first 2. I thought about that. It's actually a sequel to the beginner course as far as what material is covered, and most of that will be in the second book. Now, if you're already doing the books in order, feel free and do the 3rd book while you're there, as why not? But if you can't buy all 3 books, you're just wondering, then I would say it's fine after the 2nd. But yeah, sure. 3rd is even better. Are flight attendants shocked when you speak Korean? It depends on the airline. I found that on Air Premia, it might just be my experience, but I've had more interactions where they still want to practice their English regardless. They don't care I speak Korean. They're just, oh, okay. And oh, wow, you speak Korean. And then they just keep speaking English because they just want to practice English. On Korean Air, it was the other way. In Korean Air, as soon as I spoke a word of Korean, they're like, oh, that's the guy. They would tell the other people, that's the guy who speaks Korean. You can speak Korean to him, like that. So yeah, I don't know. Your mileage may vary. Okay. Usually though, actually, I'll give you exactly what I say. I won't sugarcoat it. 전 그냥 무료. But this is usually the first thing that I'll say to a flight attendant. And it works because I don't want to I'm not trying to have a conversation. I just want to be like, hey, just speak to me in Korean if you want. They usually do, but just speak to me in Korean if you want. I'm just going to use Korean. Kind of gets the understanding, gets it clear so everyone understands what's going on. If I'm sitting in the flight, first thing they'll come around and offer is if you want water or a drink, right? They say, oh, excuse me, what would you like to drink? We have coffee or tea. 전 그냥 무료. That's all I say. It's very simple to say. You can say it as a beginner. 전 or 저는. 저는 is fine. I say 전, but 저는 it's not any less native or anything. This is just shorter. 그냥, this is optional. You don't even need this. It doesn't make it sound more or less native. Trust me. I like to use it because I'm like, oh, nothing else, for me. But this is optional. You can say 전 무료. Or you could even just say 무료. But this one's a little bit clearer because that way, in case they mishear, then it's like, oh, 전 그냥 무료. That way they 100% know it's Korean. They didn't mishear my English saying 무료 or some word they didn't know. They'll know it's Korean. Just for me, just water, basically. And once I say that, it instantly tells them, oh, I speak Korean. 100% don't worry kind of level when you say something like this. Because it's just really straightforward. Oh, can I give you, oh, just water. If you're serving someone who speaks English and the person says, water please, then oh, they're learning English. But if they say, oh, just water's fine, or water's okay, water's good, like that, you'll know, oh, they have some experience with English because they're not using the standard, please give me water sort of thing. Anyway, okay. Now into the class. We're going to be learning a lot today about the verbs 가다 and 오다, which means to go somewhere or come here. But specifically, we're going to be using these verbs together with other action verbs. So I'm going to first show you what the form looks like. You take an action verb stem, so any verb where you're doing anything, and you attach 고 to the end. You don't use any other tense. It's just the plain stem. So 하다 is just 하고, not like 했고, not past tense or anything like that. 하고, and then 가다 or 오다, and you conjugate it. So what this means is you have an action. Let's just say the action is sleeping. 잠자다. Okay? 잠자고. So you sleep, you're doing something, And then, or and, right? 고 means and or and then. So, and then you 가다, you go somewhere. Or you 오다, come here. Now, 가다 is just to go somewhere else, and 오다 is just someone comes to the location where the person who's speaking that is. So it's not just coming as in, I'm coming soon. That doesn't make sense because coming is to the speaker's location. So you have to say, I will go soon. That's a beginner mistake I've heard some people make. They'll say, oh, 나도 올게, like I'll come too. But it means like, what? Like, no, you're supposed to say I'm going there because coming would be coming here to where the speaker is. So again, someone does something and then they go somewhere. Someone does something and then they come here. That is literally what this form is. It is not special. And you can use it that way. But let me first give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. Okay, let me just check the chat. See if I missed anything else. If you go to Incheon for ceramics, visit Toate. Yeah, I'm not sure if I would get to go into there. That would be cool. It's Kai says, bumps into Billy on the street. Oh, hey, you're Go Billy Korean. You speak Korean so well. Billy deadpan. I don't speak Korean. What? You must have got me confused with someone else. I'm sorry. I don't know Korean. Billy? I don't even know the guy. He must be really cool though. I guess. Oh, hey, Lexica. Lexica, thank you. My first sponsor for today is Lexica. On the 7-minute mark. Close. It shows 6 minutes on my tablet and my computer. You're early, but I will accept your early is better than being late. So I'll accept that. Thank you, Lexica. Minute 7, we'll have to find something else to do on Sunday afternoons from now until August. I hope you have a fantastic trip. Thank you. For anyone who doesn't know, yes, I will be gone in Korea, so I won't be doing classes until August. I will still do live streams, but this is the last class. I just dropped a pen. I don't know where it went. Oh, here it is. Okay. 오늘은, today, 영화, a movie. 영화를 보고. So I watch a movie today, 보고, and 낮잠 자다, to take a nap. 낮잠을 잤어요. So today, I watched a movie and then I took a nap. That's it. It's the same form, 고, that we're using here with 가다 and 오다. I just want to make that clear. This is a specific usage of this form, but literally we're going to be doing the same thing. Okay, so in Korean, when you do something, it's not assumed that you're coming back after you're doing it. I'll say that again. It's not assumed that someone is going to leave somewhere after doing something or return somewhere after doing it in Korean, unlike in English. For example, I'm going to go buy groceries. In English, think about what that means. It means I'm going to buy groceries. So I'm going to go buy groceries, right? But it also means, without saying it, it also means that you're coming back. Hey, go buy some milk. I guess the dad didn't understand that. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be that you come back after you do it. Oh, man. I ate lunch. Did you eat lunch today? Yeah, I had some lunch. If you say you're going to do something, you also have to include in Korean that you're coming back or that you're going somewhere after you do it. That's not assumed in the Korean language, unlike in English. And they also use 고 often to show the order that someone's doing something. So in this case, in this sentence, 영화를 보고 낮잠을 잤어요, doesn't only mean that you did two things, watch a movie and took a nap. It also means you did them in that order. Now, this might sound obvious for you. If so, don't worry about it. I'm just restating this in case maybe someone's not completely clear on how to use the 고 form. But the 고 form doesn't only show that two actions happened, but it also means that they happened in that order. So I watched a movie and then I took a nap. And then. So it doesn't just mean and, but it also means and then. Meaning, this sentence could not mean that I took a nap and then I watched a movie. It has to mean I watched a movie and then I took a nap. So keep those things in mind. So let's talk about our first form then. So when you take an action verb stem and you attach 고 and 가다, let's just say the action is to eat pizza, whatever. 피자 먹다. Good. 먹고 가다. So literally, you're eating pizza, and then after you eat pizza, and then what happens next is you go somewhere. Again, that is literally what we're saying, and that is everything that we're saying. You're doing some sort of action, and then you're going somewhere. So someone is going to leave somewhere, or if you're talking about the past tense, they left somewhere after they do something, right? You can look at it like that. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go also means I'm going to go, but first I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to go after I do this. It's the same thing because, as I said, this indicates that the order is how it happened. This indicates the order of how something happened. This happens and then this happens. And it's the same with 오다. This might seem really obvious. I'll explain why it's relevant soon. But hopefully it feels obvious right now. Hopefully you're like, Billy, why are you teaching this? Like this is too easy, but it'll make more sense why we do it. If we do 오다, it's the exact same thing. Someone does something and then they come here, meaning someone is going to come here, or maybe they already came here after they've done something. So I came here, but first I did this. Or I came here after doing this. Or I did this before I came here. All of those are valid translations in English, right? It should make sense. You can translate it any of those ways because it's the same thing. 고 just indicates what order something happens. Okay, hopefully this was like super easy because now we can finally talk about what the form is. So here's where our forms come into play. These forms are really common ways of saying after and before. You thought that you're supposed to use the 전 or who form to say after or before, but these forms are also very commonly used to say that kind of thing, at least when you translate from English. Because, let me give you an example. We have two sentences here. Two sentences. The first one is standard. 점심을 먹었어요. 점심 is lunch, so I ate lunch. 점심을 먹었어요. Easy, right? Should be easy. I mean, if this is difficult, then this whole class might be a little too hard. But anyway, so we ate lunch, but our second sentence uses this form. In this case with 갔어요, so 가다 in the past tense. 점심을 먹고 갔어요. So literally, let's just take a look at this. I eat lunch. Notice that it's eat. You wouldn't do past tense except at the end of the sentence in Korean. That's not necessary. So I ate lunch and then I left. I ate lunch and then I left. Okay, Billy, what's your point? You can also translate this sentence like this. I ate lunch before I left. Right? 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 It's the same thing because 고, like I said, with actions can show that an action happens after another one. It shows the order. So 점심을 먹고 갔어요 literally means I ate lunch and then I left, but more naturally, and it does sound natural in Korean, It also means I ate lunch before I left. So if someone asks you, did you eat lunch today? You could reply with either of these. 점심 먹었어요. 네, 점심 먹었어요. Or 점심을 먹고 갔어요. Hey, did Stewie eat his breakfast before he left today? Did Stewie eat breakfast? I don't know if Stewie got any food. Yeah, Stewie. 아침을 먹고 갔어요. Yeah, he ate before he left. He had breakfast before he left. So you're saying, by saying the order that something happens, you're telling someone that already, let me say that again. So by stating the order that something happened, you're essentially saying that something already happened or already will happen. Like, don't worry about it. Yeah. Oh yeah, they ate before they left is what you're saying. So if you want to tell someone, oh, don't worry, I ate lunch before I came here. Yeah, I had lunch. You would use this form, either 고 가다 or 고 오다, whether you're trying to say that you go somewhere after or that you came here after doing something. Let's do another quick example. It's a little bit squished. I ran out of space. 학교에서 공부했어요. I studied at school. The end. What did you do today? 학교에서 공부했어요. That just means you studied at school. It has no other meaning. Doesn't say you did anything else, right? 학교에서 공부하고 I studied at school today. Studied because it's past tense here. We know it's studied here. I studied at school today. And then I came here. By that, you're saying, I studied before I came here, meaning, basically, right before I came here, I was studying at school. So if someone says, did you study today? You can say in English, you could say either, yes, I studied today, or, yeah, I studied before I came here. Or, yeah, I was just studying at school before I met you. You can say it a bunch of different ways in English, and you can also say it a bunch of different ways in Korean, just depending on what you want to say. Do you want to say that something happened before or after something, or do you just want to say that it happened? And a lot of times you'll want to say this. Like, why might you say, I studied before I came here, instead of just studied? What's the situation you might say that in English? It's the exact same situations in Korean, but think about that. What's a situation where you might say, yeah, I ate lunch before I came here, or I studied before I came here? What's a situation you might say that in English? It's the same in Korean, but I want you to think about that for a second. I'm going to look at the chat. Does the 고 in this example have the same uses as the 서? No, because 서 shows that the action happens right after the other and has a relationship. So that would be like if you go to the library and then study, it means you studied at the library if you use 서, whereas 고 does not have that meaning. But that's a different lesson. I've done a live stream about 서 several times before, but there is a live stream I also did about it. 수업을 듣고 자러 갈 거예요. Yeah. So Helen gave an example. Tonight, I'm going to take class. I'm going to take my class and then I'm going to bed. By that, it's saying, I'm going to go to bed. Like the focus of the sentence is now, I'm going to go to bed, but I'm going to do that after I take my class. I studied before coming here. Yeah. If someone's like, did you eat lunch today? Oh, no. If someone said, hey, did you eat today? If you reply, I'll give this as an example. Someone asks you, 밥 먹었어요? Did you eat? And if you say, 네, 밥 먹었어요. Yes, I ate. That gives no context as to when. It just means, yes, I ate. What if you're meeting someone and it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and they say, did you eat? And you say, 먹었어요. that probably means you're just talking about lunch, right? But what if you're going to go eat something like maybe if you're going to go eat like an early dinner or something and they ask, did you eat? You might want to express like, actually, I ate just before I came here, so I'm not hungry. If you say, 밥 먹었어요, it means just I ate. But if you say 밥 먹고 왔어요, that means I'm not hungry right now because I ate before I came here. They're slightly different uses. Now, again, the literal meaning is the same. There's nothing special or sneaky going on. It's just to express something happened or happens before or after something. And that's it. When are situations when you might do that in English? Well, it's going to be the same situation that you would do it in Korean. So let me give you a few examples then. 밥 is literally cooked rice, but that's how you say any meal. 밥 먹고 왔어요. So I ate a meal. And then I came here, meaning I ate before I came here. Yeah. Oh, 밥 먹고 왔어요. Like I ate before I came here. So that can imply like I'm not hungry. I just had something a second ago, you know? If you came from really far away, like if you took an airplane flight and then said 밥 먹고 왔어요, they're going to be like, oh, you must be starving, right? Because it just shows the order something happens. 밥 먹고 왔어요. So I ate before I came here. If someone tells you, if your mom tells you, 숙제 해. 숙제 is your homework, so do your homework. But you say you're going to go meet your friend. Your mom could still tell you 숙제 해, but she might also tell you this. 숙제 하고 가. Do your homework and then go. By that, she would be saying, do your homework first. Like, go after you do your homework. Take care of your homework first. So she's not just saying to do your homework, but do it and then go. By that, it means go after you do your homework. 숙제하고 가. Do your homework before you go. Do your homework first. Right. If it feels like I'm going quick, it's because there's a lot we still have to talk about and I don't want to go past. If it's possible, I don't want to go past 3, but I don't know if that's possible. I'll just try. Oh, and if you want more examples, I think there are only like 14 or something in this entire lesson today. There's an additional worksheet with like 10 or so more example sentences using this form. So make sure to get the worksheet. It's on my Patreon page. Every Patreon tier gets access to those. You don't have to support a ton. You can donate $1 a month or even less if you do it on a yearly basis, and then get access to every live stream worksheet and outline I've ever done. But yeah, okay, so back to this. If you walk into a restaurant, actually, let's say it like this. There's a restaurant that's doing an advertisement where they give a 10% discount to everyone coming in. So you look at the advertisement and you're like, wow, that looks good. And you go to the restaurant. And then the restaurant says, oh, welcome. How did you find out about us? 광고를 봤어요. I saw the advertisement. Cool. But let's say you walk into the restaurant and you want to tell them how you found out about them. If you walk into a restaurant and go, 광고를 봤어요, it's like going into an American restaurant and saying, I saw the ad. Like, good for you. Are you ordering food? Like, you're just letting me know? It makes sense. It's fine. But you can also use this here. Oops, I almost wrote that weird. Hey, 광고를 보고 왔어요. 광고 is an ad. So I saw the ad and came here. Basically, the reason I'm here is because I saw the advertisement. Meaning, I came here after seeing your ad. Like, oh yeah, well, I came here after seeing your ad. 왔어요. I came here. 보고. I looked at your ad and then I came here. So I came here after seeing your ad. Yeah, I'm here from the ad, basically. I'm here for the ad, I guess. 광고를 보고 왔어요. So I came here after seeing the ad. If you don't know this form, 갈래, you can just think of it as like want to. But this is a casual without the you. 커피, coffee, 마시다, to drink. 커피 마시고 갈래? So, do you want to go after you drink some coffee? So how about, you want to get a coffee before we go? 커피 마시고 갈래? So we're going somewhere. Let's say we make an appointment to go see a movie together. But before we see the movie together, man, I want to get some coffee. 커피 마실래? Is like just a question. Do you want to drink coffee? The end. But you're going somewhere. So it's like, well, okay, we can drink coffee now. But if you want to expressly make it clear that you mean before we go. So you're not just saying you want to get some coffee. You're not just saying, do you want some coffee? You're saying, before we go, you want to get some coffee. It adds in that meaning of before we go. So you can make the sentence without it, but you just don't get that extra nuance. So it's optional, but it's a good nuance that you might want to have. 커피 마시고 갈래? 커피 마시고 갈래? So do you want to get some coffee before we go? Like that. 이미 커피 마시고 왔어요. I already drank some coffee before we came here. Before I came here, basically, if you were to say that. You can say 커피 마셨어요. Like, I drank coffee. But it's like, okay, do you want to get some coffee before we go? Oh, I drank coffee. It sounds kind of awkward, right? In that situation, it would sound awkward in English. It would sound awkward in Korean too. If someone says, oh, 커피 좀 마시고 갈래? 커피 마셨어요. It's like, okay, it sounds like a foreigner speaking Korean. Like, I drank coffee. Okay. But you can say, 마시고 왔어요. Oh, I had some coffee before I came here. Or, 뭐, 커피 마시고 왔는데, 그래도 뭐, 한 번 더 마시지 뭐. I'll have one more, like that. That's fine too. It just gives you more options for how you want to express yourself. So now you're not limited by just saying, I drank coffee, but now you can say, yeah, I had some before I came here. It's a more natural, in that situation when you need to say that, it fits better and it sounds more natural. Not that you want to be putting 가다 and 오다 on every single action verb to sound more natural, but in situations when you want to express that you're doing something before or after something, then this form will make it sound much more natural. Okay, just one more sentence. If you go to any cafe or small restaurant in Korea and you order something at the counter, they're going to ask you this question, exactly as I wrote it. 드시고 가세요? 드시다 is just the honorific version of 먹다, so it's polite to eat. 드시고 가세요, and 가세요 is just the honorific form of 가다, to go. Basically, 먹고 가요? 드시고 가세요? So, are you eating it or drinking it and then going? Basically, are you going to go after you drink it or eat it? Are you going after you eat this? Or are you eating it before you leave? Is literally what they're asking you, right? This is how you say, basically, for here to go in Korean. In Korean, they'll ask you, basically, is this to go? Sorry, actually, is it for here? So this is like saying, is it for here? Are you going to go after you eat it? You're going to leave after you eat it, right? Or are you just going to be taking it and going? So they'll ask you this. And you can reply in a couple ways. Since you're saying that you're going to eat it, you can say, 네, 여기서 먹을 거예요. Yes, I'll eat it here. That's all you need to say. If you're going to be eating it here, you say, 네, 여기서 먹을 거예요. I know some people might hear this question if they don't feel comfortable with it or they don't understand, and they might hear, 네, but they meant it to go because they heard 가세요 and they thought, am I going? oh, 네. And then they'll give it to you on a tray, and then you'll ask, can I get it in a cup? And they'll be really confused about that. But yeah, if you're going to eat it, you can just say, oh, I'm going to eat it here. Because that's all they're asking. Are you going to eat it here? Basically. So you can answer, 네, 여기서 먹을 거예요. Yes, I will eat it. Yes, I will eat it here. Or you can reply, 포장해 주세요. 포장하다 is to wrap something up. So please wrap it up, which is how you say, let me get it to go. 드시고 가세요. 포장해 주세요. Let me get it to go. Okay. We're going to take a 1-minute break. I'm going to check the chat. Yeah, eat ramen and leave. Exactly. The same form. Exactly the same form, Chika. In Korean, the expression, I don't know if I should tell you this. Well, I guess it's not too bad. Eating ramen and then leaving is basically the same exact meaning as Netflix and chill in Korean. But I've never actually heard people use it. I've only heard people use it jokingly as like a meme. But just know that if someone mentions to you eating like ramen 먹고 가다, it means that. Just having some ramen before you leave. But it's kind of like what you might hear in like sitcoms or something, like, oh, you want to come up for a coffee? Like that sort of thing. It's like, it's 10 o'clock. Like there was a Seinfeld episode like that. Same idea. Oh, hey, Flo. Bottom of the hour. Thank you, Flo. Oh, that's sour. Helen, they would not say it that politely though, because that would be, you would also still say 가실래요, because that would be a different meaning of 가시겠어요 would be like, wouldn't you? It's a bit, I would say, less common to say, to request something like that in that more of a polite way. It would still be done with a regular Leo form, just with the honorific ending. So we learned now how to use it with 가다 and 오다. Remember that 가다 is you're going somewhere after doing something, and 오다 is that someone's coming to where the speaker is after doing something. But those aren't the only two words you can use it with, because again, literally it just means you do something and then you do something else, right? So why does it have to be 가다 or 오다? There are other verbs that also can show motion that aren't 가다 and 오다. First of all, there are a lot of verbs that use 가다 and 오다 at the end. Like you might see 걸어가다 is to walk somewhere, or 걸어오다, to walk here. 나가다 is to go out. 나오다 is to come in. There are a lot of verbs like this that use 가다 and 오다 at the end, but there are also some other verbs that don't use those that you can also use in the same way. Again, you're just specifying the order that something happens. For example, you might see this with like 떠나다. 떠나다 is to depart, to leave. Like you're leaving on a trip. 도착하다 is to arrive. Like I did something and then I arrived there. Like before I arrived here, I did this. There are more, but I'm just going to give you a few. 출발하다 is to set out, like to leave somewhere also. Typically, 출발하다 would be the opposite to 도착하다. 들르다 is to stop by somewhere. Yeah, I stopped by here after I did this. Or I want to stop by there after we do this. You don't need to write these all down. I'm just giving you some examples in case you see it. It's the same form. 출근 and 퇴근. 출근 is to go to work. 퇴근 is to go home from work, to leave work, basically. So, yeah, I ate before I came to work. Yes, I ate lunch before I went to work. That means you start work really late. But anyway, you can use other verbs in this exact same way. It's not exclusive to 가다 and 오다, is what I wanted to say. So I have a couple examples to show you of this. Okay, 숙제를 먼저 하고 나갔어요. 숙제, homework, 먼저, first, before doing anything else. 하고, so I did my homework first, and then 나갔어요. 나가다 is to go out, like going outside. So before I went outside, I did my homework first. You're not just saying I did my homework first, but you're saying, no, before I went outside, I did my homework first. 숙제를 먼저 하고 나갔어요. And if you're wondering how these two sentences are different, it's exactly the same as English. Do you want to say, I did my homework first, or before I went outside, I did my homework first? There are going to be cases when you want to use either, and it's not one is better or worse. It's just a different way to express something. When you want to express that you did something after doing something, like, hey, I went out, but I did my homework first, like that, then you'd use this form. So in this case, it's 나가다. But same thing. You could have said 숙제를 먼저 하고 왔어요. Or 숙제를 먼저 하고 떠났어요. Or whatever you want to say. 출근했어요. Anything you want to say. You did that after first doing whatever comes here. 숙제를 먼저 하고 나갔어요. So I did my homework first before I went out. Okay, one more for this form. Okay, 신발 is shoes. Careful how you pronounce it. 신발, 신다 is to wear shoes. So I wore my shoes. Actually, in this case, the sentence is a command. 들어오세요. 들어오세요. 들어오세요 means come in. 들어오다 means to enter into somewhere. 들어가다 is to go in somewhere. So 들어오세요. Come in after you wear your shoes. 신발 신고 들어오세요. So wherein. So come in wearing your shoes. Like, you don't need to take off your shoes. 신발 신고 들어오세요. Come in with your shoes on is what it means. Again, come in after wearing your shoes. This is how they would tell you it's okay to wear your shoes indoors. They would tell you wear your shoes and then come in. There aren't very many places that would do this, but some restaurants will have actual tables that you're not supposed to take off your shoes for, like they don't have wooden floors or anything. Mostly though, you take off your shoes, but a lot of stores, a lot of restaurants I found at like shopping malls, the restaurants, you don't take your shoes off for those. Mostly like the nicer restaurants I've seen, you just walk right in. 신발 신고 들어오세요. Wear your shoes and then come inside. So keep your shoes on, basically. Again, the most important thing about this form is just to remember that 고 can mean and then. So when you translate that naturally, you get either after or before doing something. If you remember that, you will recognize this form no matter what verb you see it used with. But there's one more important verb that this is commonly used with that we have to talk about. It's not about going or coming somewhere, but it's a little bit similar. And that is the verb 다니다. So again, you take an action verb stem, again, you attach 고, and then you attach 다니다. What is 다니다? Well, 다니다 is normally how you say to commute to work, or to go to school, or to attend something. But it also has another meaning of to go wander around somewhere, to roam around, to go around is also tanida. That's where it gets its meaning of commuting, like you're going and coming, basically. Going and coming is kind of like what tanida means. So if you use an action verb with tanida, basically you're saying that you do the action, like let's say eating. You eat and then you go around, you wander around, and then you attend something, you commute to work. You just kind of go around, you roam around after you do something. That's what this form is used to mean literally. So you're going around doing something. Whatever action it is, you're going around and doing it. That is the literal meaning, but it also is the metaphorical meaning. Yeah, they're just going around doing something. By that you mean someone's doing something continually. Someone's doing something continually or often. And there's an emphasis on moving around. So it's not just like they are doing something in one place, but it's like they're doing it here and then they're doing it there and they're doing it there. They're kind of just doing it wherever they go, which emphasizes that they're doing it often. But literally, again, they're going around doing something. So emphasizes that they're moving while they're doing it. So this is more of an idiomatic expression. Again, it's the exact same form we're using, but now you don't need to translate it as before or after, since we can just use its literal meaning all by itself. Someone does something and then they go around. So let me give you an example. Let me just check the chat, make sure we're okay. Kudu does not mean sandals. Kudu will be dress shoes. It does not mean just regular shoes, although in the past it would have, because that would be shoes. But yeah, it's specifically like nice dress shoes. 다들, everyone. This is an informal way of saying everyone. 이렇게, like this. 입다 is to wear something like over your whole body or wear your pants. So everyone wears or dresses like this. 입고 다녀요. So everyone goes around dressing like this. Literally, they wear like this and they go around. So everyone's going around dressed like this. 다들 이렇게 입고 다녀요. So everyone's dressing up like this. Your mom's like, why are you wearing that? You look weird. Oh, 엄마, 다들 이렇게 입고 다녀요. Everyone's dressing up like this now. Where have you been? Kind of like that. Everyone dresses up like this. And then you have like a boot on your head. You're not wearing a shirt. You just have like a bandana wrapped around your belly button. And you have like shredded jeans that go like halfway down your thighs. And you have like plastic bottles on your feet. Mom, everyone dresses like this nowadays. This is cool. You don't have a nose ring, but you have a tooth ring. They just drill a hole through your teeth. And that's the style. Causes permanent damage. But it's cool. That's the only important part, right? Okay. So because it means doing something and going around, so like, because it means like you're doing something and you're going around, so you're like going around and doing something, so it's often used with verbs that mean to wear. Like we just saw it with 입다. We also saw it with 신다. No, we didn't see it with 신다. That was 신고 들어오세요. You might see it with 입다 or 신다 or 쓰다. Maybe 쓰다, like if you're wearing something like on your head. You'll see it with any of the wearing verbs because those are things that you would do and then go around after you've done them. But it can also be used with a lot of other verbs too. So let me give you a couple more examples. This sentence uses it with 쓰다, but it's not the where 쓰다. It's a different 쓰다. It's to use. Oops, I wrote that a little messy. 처럼. Okay. 돈을 물처럼 쓰고 다녀서 걱정이에요. So in this case, 돈, money, 물처럼. 처럼 is like, 물 is water. So 쓰다, in this case, is not to wear 쓰다, like on your head. This is use. So because 다녀서, because they're going around using money like water, which is an expression that just means to be throwing around your money, 걱정이에요. 걱정 is a concern. So I'm worried. It worries me that they're just throwing their money all around. 돈을 물처럼 쓰고 다녀서 걱정이에요. So I'm worried that they're just going around using money like water, literally. I'm worried that they're just going around throwing their money everywhere. 돈을 물처럼 쓰고 다녀서 걱정이에요. Again, in this case, 쓰다, they're using money and going around, like in different places. Using it here, using it there, buying some character in League of Legends, or I don't know, buying some hat in Team Fortress 2. They're just getting everything. $20 on like one of those big rolls on Nikkei or whatever. You know, just using their money like water. We'll call it a boot. No, boot is butse. That has a different word for boot. Okay. Let's do one more. Let's get our friend Charsu out of storage. Okay. See, how are we on time? We're actually okay. Okay. 철수가 철수. So our friend 철수. 철수가 저에 대해 about me 말하다. To talk about me. 말하고 다닌다고요? You say. This is just a quoting form. Someone says something. You're telling me that 철수's going around talking about me? Are you saying that 철수's going around and talking about me? 철수가 저에 대해 말하고 다닌다고요? You say 철수 is going around talking about me? Again, 다니다, to go around. It's not just that 철수 keeps talking about me to one person in one place, but he is 다니다. He is going around different places. He's moving and talking to people. You're saying 철수's going around talking about me? That's weird. 철수가 저에 대해 말하고 다닌다고요? Okay. Couple other things we have to do. Let's see. Oh, yes. Okay. See, I hope I don't feel like I'm going too fast. I'm just trying to make sure we get through everything because I can only stream today. I have to turn off my stream at 3:30 because it's Mother's Day today. And not only do I have to edit this video so that members can watch it tonight, but I also have to make some dinner for my wife because there's no way my kid is going to do anything for my wife. So I want to make sure she has a good Mother's Day. So I'll have to stop the stream at 3:30, which is in 40 minutes. So that's why I'm kind of going quick, but we should be able to get through everything. Okay. There's one more common usage that you're going to see 고 가다 and 고 오다. And that is when you use the verb 타다. 타다 means to ride or take any sort of mode of transportation. Like if you're taking the bus, the subway, a taxi, a car, an elephant, whatever you're taking. Although actually an elephant, you'd 올라가다. Anyway, whatever you're taking, that's 타다 for how you get there. So if we use this verb with our form from before, we get 타고 가다 or 타고 오다, right? So you take something, a mode, any method of transportation, and then you go somewhere, or you took something and then came here. This is how you express how you go somewhere or how someone came here, by literally saying that they took that method of transportation and went, or they took that method of transportation and came. So literally you are describing what method of transportation someone used to go somewhere else or to come here. So if if your friend is like, hey, how should we go to McDonald's? What do you tell them if McDonald's is like 10 miles away? Obviously you tell them, we're not going to McDonald's. Their food's not that good. But let's say hypothetically you are. If you say, 버스를 탈 거예요, I will take the bus. That's fine. How are you going to McDonald's? 버스 탈 거예요. I'll take a bus. Perfect. Sounds native. 버스 타고 가려고요. 버스 타고 갈 거예요. Either one. Yeah, I'm going to take the bus there. It adds that extra word in English, like there. So you're not just saying I'm taking it or I took it, but you're saying I took it here or I took it there. How did you get here? 버스 탔어요. How'd you get here? I took a bus. Okay. How'd you get here? I took a bus here. Both are good. Different nuance, because the second one, 타고 왔어요, indicates that that's how you got here. You're not just replying like I took a bus in general or I will take a bus, but you're saying that's how I went somewhere. So it just adds in that extra nuance of you're explaining how you got somewhere. Let me give you an example. So basically what I'm trying to say is if you want to explain how you get somewhere, use 타고 가다 or 오다, not just 타다. But again, you're not wrong if you just use 타다, it's just missing that nuance. 버스 타고 왔어요. So bus, 타고 왔어요. So I took a bus and came here. So that's how I'm here. I took a bus here. You're not just saying I took a bus in general, like yesterday, today, or whatever. No, I got here by taking a bus. Note also that many foreign words in Korean that have regular consonants or strong consonants as well get pronounced as if they're double consonants when you actually read them. So even though this word is written as 버스, it actually will be pronounced every time, except in the dictionary, every time you'll pronounce it as 버스 with a double consonant. 버스. The same applies to a lot of words, but this one's good to know. It's pretty common. Same goes for like cafe, a bunch of other words. Okay. 지하철 is the subway. 지하철을 타고 가요. So, take the subway. You can just tell someone 지하철 가요. You can just tell someone 지하철 타요. Take the subway. That's fine. That just means just get the heck on the subway. But if you want to say that's how you're going to get there, in English you can say take the subway there, right? You're not just saying take the subway, but you're saying take the subway there. That's how you get there, is by taking the subway. Take the subway to get there. 지하철 타고 가요. Take the subway and go, literally. So take the subway there. It just adds in that nuance of someone going or coming somewhere by that method of transportation. But again, you don't need to use it, but if you wanted to have that nuance, you do have to use it. So, 지하철 타고 가요. Take the subway there. Okay, there are two more verbs I need to talk about. 놓다 and 두다, which become 놓고 or 두고, and then 놓고 가다, 놓고 오다, or 두고 가다, 두고 오다. Both of these mean that you are putting something down. 놓다 means to put something down. 두다 also means to put something down, and then going somewhere or coming here. That means you're literally putting something down, like I'm putting my pen down, and then I'm going somewhere. By that, it means you're forgetting something. In English, we use the word forget, like 있다, 잊어버리다, to forget about something. But in Korean, this means a piece of information. If you say, 펜을 잊었어요, that means I forgot about my pen. It doesn't mean I forgot to bring it. It doesn't mean it's left. It doesn't mean I left it at my house. It just means I forgot it exists, basically. Like maybe you're like Jason Bourne or something. I forgot my life. But this is like literally you forgot it somewhere. So by that, if you say 놓고 왔어요, 집에 펜 놓고 왔어요. You're saying I put my pen down at my house and came here. I left my pen at home. And the same goes for 두다. 두고 가다. 두고 가요. 두고 갔어요. I left it and then I went somewhere. If you want to describe I went somewhere else, but I left it somewhere, then you can use 두다 as well. 놓다 and 두다 have the same translation, but 두다 means more long term. So it's not just like I left it at my house for a second, but like I put it there intending to leave it for a long time. So 두다 just shows more intention. But if you want the quick answer, just use 놓고 with 가다 or 놓고 with 오다. So if you forgot your umbrella, 우산을 놓고 왔어요. 우산 놓고 왔네. 우산 놓고 왔어. I left my umbrella. Literally, I put my umbrella down and I came here. So you'll also see 놓고 가다 or 놓고 오다 and 두고 가다 and 두고 오다. It's the same form. That's how you say to forget something. Okay. If you're wondering how this form is different than this form, where you take a conjugated verb and then you attach 가다 or 오다, check out my live stream from April 5th, 2020. I talked all about this form. It is different. It literally is going somewhere or coming here, but it's used with time. Like I'm going to go on doing something, or I have been doing something up until this point. So it's more like, what's the word? It's more metaphorical. But I also talked about this form, so check out that live stream if you want to learn about that form. It's different. And finally, you also might recognize this form is used in the regular verbs 가지고 가다, 데리고 가다, or 가지고 오다, 데리고 오다. 가지다 means to have something, like holding it basically. So you have something and then you go. That's how you say to take something with you, or 가지고 왔어요. I brought it. Literally, I took it and then I came here. Again, take it and then go and then come here, or and then go somewhere. So bringing something or taking something. 데리다 is the same thing but with a person. So I took a person there. You're not actually physically putting them in your hand. You're, escorting them essentially. You're holding their hand maybe, or guiding them, or just accompanying them. 데리고 가다. So I took them to the party, or I brought them back here. They didn't have a ride, so I brought them here. 가지고 가다 and 오다, 데리고 가다 and 오다 are also this exact same form. But again, it's not really so much of a form, right? It's just 고, meaning and then. I took it and then I went there. So that's how you say to bring or to take something or someone. And if you want to learn more about this, I also give a lot of other versions because it's not just these two. Check out my live stream from December 8th, 2024. And I go over all of those and more. Oh, good, good. I wanted to finish by 3. It actually happened. And that is the lesson for today. Let me take a really quick thumbnail. Something like that. Now I'm going to hang out for about 20 minutes or so. We can ask questions. Again, this was the last classroom until August 9th, I think will be the next class that I do because I'm going to be gone in Korea. Next Sunday, I might do a regular live stream. I'm just letting you know for people who are here. You're obviously interested in these live streams. I'll do another live stream probably next Sunday, but it won't be a class. I can't do any more classes until August. So yeah, this was the last class. There is going to be a meetup in Seoul. If you are in Korea, I think it's going to be May 30th, which is a Saturday. I don't know what time. Probably sometime in the afternoon. I don't know exactly where. Probably the Han River like it always is. May 30th, Saturday. I'm going to do a fan meetup in Seoul. So if you're in Korea that day, I think it's going to be this day. Now, if this day doesn't work for you, go to my Patreon page and let me know because on Patreon, I have a vote where people are picking which day it is. But right now, this day is winning. So probably, unless it changes within the next week, it's probably going to be May 30th. But yeah, if any of you are going to be in Korea, I think it would be really cool to get to meet some of you. Some people will come every year. Other people, it's like maybe a couple people, like 2 or 3 or 4 people come every year. And the rest of them, it changes every year. So it's always fun to get to see who shows up at those meetings. We'll have some prizes maybe. I'm working on some special stickers I'll give out, and we'll have, you can take photos. I'll sign autographs if you want something like that. I'll probably film a video and I'll maybe do a live Q&A. We'll just kind of hang out for like a couple hours. So yeah, that'll probably happen. Okay. Let's check out the chat then. So yeah, that's the lesson, but I will hang around here for the next 20 minutes. I thought Mother's Day happens same time worldwide. No, they don't have a Mother's Day in Korea. In the past, though, they did a long time ago. There was Mother's Day and Father's Day separately, but they combined them together into Oboinar, which is just Parents' Day. So Koreans don't celebrate Mother's Day separately. Is there a grammar form you wanted to put in your Korean Made Simple books but didn't have space? Not really, because the Korean Made Simple books go up into the very start of what I consider to be the low intermediate level. The level where you actually have real conversations would be from there. So there are a lot of forms I wanted to include, but none that were below that anyway. So no, I put in everything I wanted to and more. Oh, Cosma. Wait, what is Ron? That's not from Harry Potter, right? I gotta look it up. Ron 10 to USD. Oh, cool. It's like $2. Thanks. I just needed to know how much I write on the board, because I always write everyone's on the board. Keith, do you know the location? Probably the Han River. It's going to be 100%, it'll be in Seoul. That's all I can say. Probably the Han River at Yeouido, which is where I've done it every time. But I have to check because it's possible there could be another giant concert going on that day where they do their mic test and blast music so loud that you can't even hear the next person talking with you, like they did one of the times I was doing a meetup. But other than that, I'll need to check. So if there's something like that, I'll reschedule or I'll move it. But probably it's going to be the Han River by Yeouido. Yes. 어머니를 모시고 오세요. Yep. I also talk about 모시다 in the lesson as well. With 광고를 보고 왔어요. Does it suggest you just saw the ad and came, or could it mean like you came to the restaurant because? Yeah, it could be either, because again, it doesn't specify like just a second ago I was watching the ad, but it just means in the order of what happened before I came here, I had watched the ad. So it's like saying in English, yeah, I saw the ad before I came here. Does that mean right before I came here? It could. It could also just mean like sometime before I came here, I watched the ad, right? It might be like 2 weeks ago. Oh yeah, I saw the ad before I came here. Okay. So yeah, it's either, but it also can imply the reason I'm here is because I saw the ad, just like it can in English. Yeah, I saw the ad before I came here. Yeah, I saw the ad and then I came here. It's kind of, it can imply that. And there are some other examples of things that you'll see with this form that I didn't cover today because I didn't want to make this lesson about specific examples. Like you'll hear people leaving comments on YouTube videos using this form. 보고 가다. Like, oh, I enjoy watching this video and now I'm leaving. You'll hear like 배우고 가다 or something like that. So you can use, if you show me the sentence, I can explain it to you better, but I'm going to make a guess, an educated guess. They're talking about their recollection of something. Oh, so that was like, oh, I realize it now. It was always like that, kind of like that. Oh, so like tomorrow, oh, so tomorrow's game was against this team is kind of what you're saying, but that's not, that wouldn't be the standard way. And if you have a specific example though, I can give you what's going on, but that's just my guess hearing that. Thanks to Billy's lesson, I know how to say things like, 너의 아들을 데리고 있다. I've got your son. If you want to see your son again, send me. Oh, I'm not trying to, Chica, this is not the class for that. We're not trying to educate how to commit crimes, okay? Maybe I should teach wrong things every now and then. Which job is best while living in Korea? Whatever you want to do. Probably just English teacher is what most people do. Okay. I didn't expect to meet another Pole. Okay, yeah, there's some people from Poland I've seen here. I'll let my daughter who lives in Seoul know about the meetup. Nice. Okay. Same hours as usual streams? Oh, do you mean for when I'm in Korea, or which book can you recommend for an intermediate? Do you want a textbook for intermediates, or do you want reading books? I would say if you're actually intermediate level, what you want is any Korean grammar reference. But once you get actually into the intermediate level, it's harder to follow regular courses because there aren't any curriculums that go that far from the beginning. There are curriculums that go into that level, but then you might be missing stuff because you didn't follow with that. Like, they don't know what you know and didn't know before you started them. Like, integrated Korean is one that a lot of colleges I've seen outside of Korea will use, but it doesn't do a good job of teaching a self-study student. It assumes you have a teacher that's guiding you with anything that you're missing. But there isn't any curriculum that goes from the beginning all the way into the actual intermediate level, as far as I know. We're all up to like the low intermediate, and like we have resources above there, but it's not like one thing that takes you all the way there, because that's not how Korean works. There's just simply too much stuff you have to learn. Like, is the book going to teach you every idiom you ever would use in the conversation, or like every version of every color that you might see? So the idea is once you get to the basics, that's when you decide what kind of Korean you want to prioritize. Not everyone's going to want to just do textbook Korean all the way till the advanced level. You want to go out and do, it might be real conversations, it might be listening to dramas, it might be writing letters, and whatever it is. That's the point where you can kind of do whatever you want. But for intermediate, I would say get yourself like a few reference books for whatever you're interested in. I like idioms and common expressions books, and they do sell a lot of those in Korean, like 관용어 and 속담 for like idioms, like common expressions, stuff like that in Korean I think would be useful, because they're not things that you get as a beginner. Like really specific idiomatic expressions in Korean are common. There are a lot of commonly used idiomatic expressions in Korean that you will not learn as a beginner. You would have to actually study them. Unless you had tons of exposure to Korean, you would need to study these. And they sell a lot of books. I can show you a couple. Let's see, what do we have one here? Down here, I don't know. Up here? Down here? Where'd it go? Legitimately cannot find it. Is it hiding behind BTS? I have some, but I can't see them because my background is blocking it right now. So if I remove my background, I can check. But just search for like 속담, Korean 속담, and you'll see types of books. I recommend buying them from Korea. You'll have a big selection in Korea. Online, I don't know what there is that's available that's going to be high quality, because the issue is you don't want to learn what I'll call just slang for Korean. I would avoid anything that's like, these are the commonly used Korean expressions, because they might have been at one point, but that doesn't mean they're still commonly used. Like, for example, if someone's learning English, do they need to learn how to say raining cats and dogs? Maybe when they're already advanced, then that's useful. But to an intermediate who's actually trying to use Korean, that's not what's useful. What's more useful is to say, like, learn. In English, we have idiomatic expressions that use like to. Like, if, for example, take make, like to make something. Like you can say, oh, I made it. That means I made, like physically made something, but it also can mean like I was successful, right? Or to make up, you can dream something and make it up, like create it, fictional. Or you can make up with someone that you had a fight with, right? So there's all these different expressions in English, and Korean has similar types of things too. They don't do it with switching words like that, but they'll do it just with a noun combined with a verb. And there are tons of these in Korean, like expressions. So I would find books that teach that sort of stuff, and they have them in Korean, but I don't know of any right now in English. So basically, short story, or go to Korean book websites, order books from Korea, or if you're in Korea, go to a bookstore and buy them. 네, 젠지 경기였군요. So that's saying, so it was a Genji game that's going on tomorrow. Like, oh, now I see. I didn't know it, but it was. The same way we'd say, that's the same thing we do in English though. So you're supposed to say, oh, it will be, it's going to be a game, but you could also say, oh, so that was the Dodgers game going on tomorrow that I had heard about, is what you're saying. You're saying that past tense because of my knowledge in the past. It was, and that's the one tomorrow is what you're saying. Korean does that too sometimes. It's like grammatically not correct, but you'll see some stuff where they do that. But in that case, it's just the same as English. Yeah, King Sejong Institute too, but those also are not self-study books. That's the issue, is that you can get books that will take you technically into advanced level. In fact, I have one that claims to be high advanced. I would not say it's high advanced. Personally, I think it's high intermediate, but the problem is those books aren't made for self-study. So for self-study, I wouldn't really worry about textbooks. If you're in a class, you'll get their books. Otherwise, for self-study, I would just get references. Just get some grammar reference books. I have a sentence connector reference, but you don't need mine. You can get any sort of Korean grammar reference. Get like yourself, you don't need a dictionary, but get yourself like maybe a root word dictionary. Maybe get yourself some idiomatic guide dictionary, expressions dictionary. Get that stuff from Korea though. It's going to be better in Korea, I would say. Why don't you do books that take you the whole way? It's just because it's not really possible. I can make them. I can say, oh, now Korean Made Simple 45 has just come out. But the problem is it's too much content to go there. I can take anyone to past the beginner level because there's a fixed number of stuff you have to learn. I just explain it in my way, which I think I do a good job of. But in the intermediate level, there will be different variations of every single word you learn. Like even in the beginner level, you'll see like 저는 can also become 전. You know, 저를 can also become 절. You know, like all that stuff. But that's already two versions of every single word. What if I tell you that 어디를 sometimes becomes 어디를, but you don't see 어딘? So, like, which words can you combine? Like, oh, here, let me show you another example. So, 것 frequently comes 거. So you would say 그거 for like that thing, or 그거는, or 그건, like that. But if you're attaching 만, it's 그것 again. It doesn't become 그거, it doesn't become 그거만. You'll see it 그것만, like this. So it keeps it, like these little tiny, tiny details. There are like hundreds and hundreds of these that it's not practical to say, let's learn all of them one at a time. It's like saying, all right, everyone, we're going to learn every word in the alphabet, starting with A, aardvark. Or, you know, like at that point, you need to have, hopefully though, by that point, you realize that you just need a ton of listening practice and speaking practice, reading practice, all that stuff to pick up all that stuff. Because if I really realistically were to make books that go up to the advanced level, it would be like that. Like, who wants to spend a whole chapter learning like shortened versions of words and then practicing though and making flashcards with them? It's just gonna demotivate anyone. Whereas in reality, the truth is you don't need to learn all that stuff. You need to learn basics so you can make your sentences, like the basic grammar rules and stuff. But in reality, Korean's a spoken language, and you're going to pick up that stuff whether you learn it or not. You're just going to pick it up from hearing other people use it. And you're going to hear, oh, they always say it like this. You don't have to study that they always say it like this. You don't have to do that. You just do lots of listening practice and you'll pick it up the same way anyone else learns a language. So it's just not practical. That's why I stopped after 3. Now, I told myself I would allow myself someday to make a book 4 because there are still some more advanced topics I would want to cover in a 4th book someday, but I don't have any plans for that. And really, you don't need it because once you've gotten to the basics, once you've gotten past the very basic level, that's when you are at the point that you can make your own path. And you might still need advice or motivation to keep going, but ultimately you choose what you want to focus on. That there is no right or wrong answer for what you need to do after that. I honestly don't know anyone who relies on only one source. Yeah, that's exactly right. So many people I study with take classes, talk to tutors and friends, use apps, watch content, search it up online, and watch YouTube. That is really the best way. Now, I recommend picking one curriculum for the guide, like the roadmap. You should stick to one roadmap if you're going to be learning with a course. Don't have I'm using this person's course and I'm using this tutor's curriculum. Don't do that because that's confusing because you won't end up learning any of those well. The bones should be one place, but I don't think you should stick to one resource for anything else. Really all you need is just the bones that say, learn this, then learn this, then learn this. And then you can go find your own lessons for each of those pieces. If you want to use my books that way or anyone's lesson that way, that's fine. My books will say, oh, here we're going to learn this. Now we're going to learn this. Just take what I'm teaching. You can find other resources to learn that. It doesn't matter. The only important thing I think about a tutor or a curriculum is just to give you that guide to let you know that, hey, you're going to get here. And this is how I'm going to take you there, one step at a time. Whereas if you go in a different order, you're going to end up missing stuff that you needed for other things that they organize. There's no right answer for how you do it, but there are orders that make sense that a teacher can come up with that you're not going to be able to find on your own unless you've learned many other languages before. But besides that, get a lot of resources, one curriculum, but go off and do lots of other resources to supplement that. If you do a lesson, if you watch this lesson I have about ko and kada, ko and uda, go search another YouTuber's channel for ko kada, ko uda, or another book's lesson and see how they teach it and what examples they give, because you might like my style of teaching, but you might find someone else matches better with how they explain something. You might say, oh, I got it from Billy, but now I see they're using an example that I really understand because, oh, I didn't think of it like that. So you never know. And some people do the same thing for me. They'll watch a different course and they're like, oh, I didn't really get it, but now I get it after watching your video. So more the merrier. Okay, I thought Ji-hoon Lee is Korean. No. Learning English, yes. I love being able to search up specific grammar points in your videos. Nice. Yeah, I like that. I like having everything available. So anytime someone asks me to teach something, I have a video about it. So much that at this point, there's very little I haven't made a video about in Korean. Very few grammar points I haven't already covered in sometimes multiple videos. But that's good. So anytime someone asks me, hey, Billy, can you teach this or whatever? I'll copy paste here. This is 3 videos I've taught it. Go watch these, kind of like that. How do you know if a resource has grammar explanation mistake? Oh, there's actually a tip for that. How can you know if a resource you're looking at has mistakes? It's easy. In order to know, you have to look at the calendar and you have to see if the day of the week ends in a Y. If it does, then the resource probably has a mistake or two in there. That's just because, myself included, every book I've ever seen for Korean has mistakes, some much more than others. You know, there might be typos. There might be where the grammar is explained way basically or not in the correct way or a little bit like a little bit too detailed sometimes. It's because the actual truth is that we're trying to make sense of something that is done 100% by intuition and nuance in Korean. And we're prescribing rules to something that Koreans don't actually have rules for in their head. It's the same with every language, though. This isn't Korean. So language is, you know, just whatever we use. Whatever we use is the language, but we're putting rules to it because, oh, it makes sense. That's why we do it like this. But in reality, there are no rules anyone's following except for like spacing. They have rules for spacing. So every teacher will have a different way of teaching. And that's good because if I told you, like, I could make a 2-hour class about the verb 가다, you know, that would be boring as hell, but I could do it. I can talk about all the different uses of 가다. Oh, it's used in this form, and here it's used here, and this is how it's conjugated, and this is why it's conjugated like that. But you might see it also conjugated, like literally everything, but that's not what a student wants. So the teacher, our job is to try to figure out what the student needs at that point in time and tell them just enough to get them using it themselves so that later when they've got enough experience, they won't need to know all of these little tiny details about how it works because they heard that before. Like, oh, what if you say, 맛이 가다? Literally the flavor goes somewhere. That's how you say, you can either say someone's crazy with that, like, yeah, they're past their flavor's a bit gone. Or you can use it for like, it doesn't taste good anymore, like it's past its date, basically. Or like, there's like a lot of ways you can use 가다 and 오다 and like all these different verbs, but it's just picking which stuff do I think the students need for a lesson. And if you look at other sources, you'll see people teach things differently because of that. They're thinking like, well, maybe they want to know this, or maybe they only want this. And they might focus on like one tiny specific usage or in that sentence of that form. And they don't go into everything because they don't think it's important yet. Now, that also means sometimes I do see like flat out errors where people will teach it completely wrong. But the only times I see that are with actually inexperienced teachers. So if they like just started teaching, they don't have, like, they've never taught actual classes before, or they've only just recently started to teach Korean, something like that. Yeah, I've seen a lot of mistakes. But for the most part, what I see isn't necessarily like what I would call big mistakes, though I do see that from time to time. It's mostly just like, oh, you're not teaching what I would have taught. It's like, oh, it's different than what I would do, that sort of thing. I find I always seem to start new material I look up at the beginner level and listening to the same subject matter from other people and rework my way up. Anytime I Google a quick grammar question, most of the time my face pops up. Oh yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. I try to do stuff about everything I can. Like a Korean made a great list for topic, but when he started reading examples, I saw the explanation doesn't match. That might have been an AI. Now, I haven't talked about this subject recently because I feel bad calling anyone out, but be aware I have seen literal lessons 100% from beginning to end, including images created with AI. I don't mean that they told AI generate a picture of a cat and then they wrote their lesson with 고양이. That doesn't bother me that much. I mean, I'm not a big fan of AI usage in general, but that doesn't bother me too much because it's still their lesson. But I mean, all they did is they typed, make a infographic teaching Korean animals. And then it gives them a picture with the text already formatted and everything. There is that, it exists. And it's as bad as you would think. It's worse than you would think. Like garbled Korean that doesn't make any sense. But sometimes they don't do that far. They'll just write the lesson completely with AI. You can tell, but more importantly, it's wrong. It's not, it cannot, still to this day, when I'll ask it questions to see like if I'm missing something for lessons, I always teach lessons after doing research. So I'll check what lessons already exist on something. I'll check what lessons I've already made on something. Usually I'll have several. So I'll take my stuff, then I check to make sure. I don't want to miss something. I want to make a more comprehensive lesson. I'll ask ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever is the Google one. And I sometimes might say, this is what I've got. Am I missing anything? 99% of the time, it makes stuff up. It's that bad. But it's still fun to see how it messes up. So I like using it sometimes for that, to see what it's going to say, but it's bad. So it cannot, despite what anyone says, it cannot make natural sounding Korean sentences to this date. It's awkward. You can tell right away that something's AI when Korean writes. Like, you can say, write me a natural Korean translation for this sentence. I want it to be 100% natural, like how a kid in Korea would say it or something like that. Doesn't matter. It's unnatural. It cannot do it. It'll make grammatical sense and it'll be so unnatural at the same time. Like, it'll always, I don't know what it is. It just doesn't have a big enough data set for Korean. Whatever reason, it just can't do it. Okay, I need to go soon, but let me just check. You mentioned the example sentences in Naver Dictionary. Yeah, the reason it has Naver Dictionary will also take example sentences from books. So that means you're getting correct sentences, but those were examples translated from a book in the first place, like maybe a grammar reference that has a translated grammar sentence. And sometimes those can be awkward. They'll say ku and kunyo. The reason is because it's actually not a grammar reference for Korean. It'll be a grammar reference for English. And then they have the sentences translated into Korean literally on purpose because they want the reader who is native Korean to understand exactly what it's saying word for word. So that's why you see a lot of like 그, 그녀, 당신 or whatever, because it's just trying to translate it for the learner. It's not trying to make a natural Korean sentence. And you get those in Naver Dictionary as well. The Weverse subtitles though, I think it's Weverse. It used to be VLive, but now or maybe it is VLive. I don't know. They always have translations from shows below that, and those are natural. But the sentences are natural. The translations are not. The translations will be whatever the fans or whatever the producer put for their English translation. It might not match very well, but the sentences will be natural. So are there better sources for beginner level examples? Beginner level podcasts, I would say. I'm pretty impressed with what Koreans are making for beginner level Korean podcasts on YouTube. I would try those. I think those would be really useful because you can't really get beginner level examples that sound natural anyway. But I feel like they try to do a good job of speaking very slowly and simply for beginners, that even though, yes, it's not perfectly natural because it's for beginners, it's still as good as you can get. I saw a website that has those generated pictures. It was already obvious on the English level because it sounded weird. And then the Korean part was really off. Yeah. Do you have a background or training in education? Doing YouTube from 2012 and then teaching Korean online for a year or so before that. Besides that, no. But thank you. I downloaded 1,700 word list for Topic 1. Oh, yeah. That's a really good idea. Just keep in mind that Topic 1,700 is probably more realistic to like maybe a vocab list of like 4,000 or 5,000 words in real life. So it's not that you only it's not saying that you only know 1,700 words. I'm sure you know way more than that, but Topic uses a lot of words that aren't commonly used. Like, you're not going to be talking about like making social comparisons between these 2 points of interest. Like, you're not going to use that type of words in regular speech, even though they're real words. And the Topic's pretty much the same. So yeah, I wouldn't get discouraged by that. Just feel like these are 1,700 extra words that I get to learn. I got invited to a wedding, but there will be like 500 people. Yeah. What's special about Korean weddings? There are like 500 people. That's what's special. You're supposed to bring a gift of money. So like, if you're a good friend, like a really good friend, you probably want to give them about 100,000 won. So like about, $80 or so. If you're like kind of an acquaintance, you would do like 20 to 50,000. It depends. You'd want to check with a Korean before going to see what they think, because it depends on your relationship with them. But you bring money. You don't bring a gift. You bring money, and then you'll pay before you go in. They have a little book. You won't give that to your friend though who's getting married. You'll give that to the person who's managing the guest book. And then that money also, you can consider it as going toward your food, because after the wedding there will be like a buffet basically, and you get food. So just think like, oh, I'm paying money for to my friend, and I'm getting a nice meal out of it. You sit there, you watch them get married, take photos, and that's it. It's pretty much it. It's pretty fast. And you're not going to hang out with your friend afterward. Billy is strictly against AI. I wouldn't say I'm strictly against AI. I just feel like don't trust it. It's not where people hype it up to be. Even in 2026, with all of its advancements and how so much better it is nowadays than it was when it came out, it's still not going to change the world. There's nothing coming out of it, basically. It's the exact same technology it was when it first was introduced. It hasn't gotten any smarter, and it still can't think, which is the ultimate problem, just can't think. So even in 2026, it makes unnatural Korean sentences, and it doesn't know Korean. It can't analyze its own thing. Someone said you can't even ask it to keep time. Like, it can't even set a timer for you. Like, it can't play chess, which should be a big indicator also of the fact that it can't think. You can play chess with it. It can't. Doesn't know how to play chess. It'll tell you, it'll summarize an article. Oh, here's how to play chess. Can you play chess with me? Sir, go ahead, make the first move. Okay. All right, I'll move, B6 pawn to B8 or, whatever you want to say. And it'll be like, sure, well, I'll move G6 queen to like B7. Like, it has no clue how to play chess. It's kind of sad though, because of all the promises we were given about AI and how it's not able to do any of them other than replace low quality bot AI chat bots anyway, which were already using AI technology. Other than to replace that, it's not doing anything for us. Oh, and generate pictures of your face as if it were in a really poorly animated Ghibli movie. I'm going to my game night friend's wedding on Saturday. It's my first since I was 7 and my first time on a boat in the water. Nice. A boat. Korea Properly channel has a video about Korean weddings. Okay, that would be a good idea. Watch a wedding video if you're confused. I mean, I did a wedding a long time ago. They should be the same pretty much though nowadays. But yeah. I'm an author and I'm billion% against AI. Well, I was pretty sad when they first released it and there was a program you can use to check what sources they use to create their AI. And I found all my books in it right away. But the sad thing, even worse than that, is even though they plagiarized all my books, they still can't even explain the stuff that's in my own books. Like, at least copy and paste it back to me when I ask a question. It makes stuff up. It can't just copy it accurately. I think, though, the reason is because there's so much wrong information on the internet that's pre-AI. There's just so many like weird Tumblr blog posts with fake Korean lessons and stuff that it can't discern what's real and what's not. And even nowadays, there aren't that many resources in English that are teaching all the topics in Korean clearly. So it doesn't know. I mean, if it had 100 lessons that are teaching the topic, it would do a better job, but there's just not enough material for it to work. It's not gonna do it. Chess vids of GPT are awesome. Are people made videos like that? That sounds pretty funny. If you ask it something, it generates crazy stuff. You call it out, it apologizes and makes up something else. That's really annoying. I tried to do that. I wrote a lesson on a topic. You won't get to watch the video for months though, but I filmed a new video about a hidden rule in Hanja for Hanja words. And it's actually on my cheat sheet for sound change rules, but I never made a video. So I wanted to make a video about it, how many words that come from Hanja, the second syllable or third syllable will be pronounced as a double consonant, even if it's written as a single consonant. So really quick for an example is the word Yeokwon. For passport, it's written as Yeokwon. It's always written as Yeokwon, but the pronunciation is always Yeokwon. Why? Why? Well, the really short answer is it's arbitrary, but there are some ways to identify it. And I made a video about it with details about what my opinion are for where it's from and a lot of examples and how it's not like every time you see kwon, it's kwon. It's not like that either. It'll be a lot of words that are let me try to give you a quick example. Let's see. This is the word for receipt. I know I wrote that circle. 영수증. 증. 영수증. Receipt. 신분증. Spelled the same way, 증, but this one's 신분증. So it's the same Hanja too. Exact same Hanja here and here. So I made a video about that, but like I said, you won't see it for a while because it's in the Korean FAQ series, which I only upload once a week when I'm in Korea. But anyway, and before I made that video, I had been doing research on it myself for over a year, like here and there. Anytime I'd see notes about it, anytime I'd see new words, I would always write them down. I'm like, I'm going to use this in the lesson. 2 years, actually. I had it for 2 years ago, but never made the video until recently because I wasn't ready. But before I did, I asked ChatGPT, hey, here are the ones I've come up with. I had a list already. Are there any I'm missing? And I want to know your opinion why, just to see, because no one actually knows. It's arbitrary, but sometimes ChatGPTs can be really good at being creative, right? It can come up with creative things. So I asked it. It made up, it was so bad. It made up words that didn't exist. It told me syllables that absolutely do not have that happen to it. And then it would give fake examples of words that don't even exist. It would say like, here's an example for this word, kwang. And then it would make up a word that didn't even use kwang. It would use like ta or something else in it. I'm like, I mean, at that point, you don't even bother correcting it. It's like, it's not going to do it. But if you say, oh, you said kwang, but then you gave an example with ta. Oh, you're very right to call that out. My mistake. I must have forgotten to include that. Here's a new list with all of them. And it would do the exact same again. It's the exact same thing it just did. The reason I think is, and it'll make up some reason that doesn't even logically make sense. Like it couldn't be that reason. So I'm like, well, thanks for giving me a reason why it's not. It's just so useless. Oh my gosh. I was able to find it. It's not like the information about it didn't exist on the internet. It did. It just didn't grab it. Like I was able to search for myself and find several documents that mention different pieces about it. That's how I was able to put it together into one lesson in the first place. But it didn't even have access to that. Like its arms are all over the internet anyway. And these are like old documents and stuff, but it just doesn't know what to do with it. It's like less than useless. But then someone trying to learn about that topic for the first time. Oh yeah, I did. I had someone message me after I mentioned that. They messaged, I'm misremembering because it wasn't a core memory, so I forgot it. But someone had messaged me after that and said, oh yeah, it's because of this and this, and here are some examples. And their examples were all made up because what they did was the exact same thing and just copied it from AI. It's like, did you seriously comment on my video with something made up from AI after I talked about how AI doesn't know anything? Yeah, I recently filmed a bunch of new Korean FAQ videos, but like I said, I can't upload them very quickly because I'll post them in Korea. You'll see a few, but I don't know what number that video is. So you might not see it this year, depending on how the upload schedule goes. But I have it. It's in the can. It's not going to change. Information's going to stay the same. How well can I use AI? Yeah, if an interview asked how well can I use AI, that's when you kind of sit up, be like, well, thanks for your time. You know what? No, thanks for your time. Yeah, I don't know. It's like it has uses, but it's just dumb. Why is Ginneep pronounced as Ginneep? Oh, that's actually Chika Baduk. That's actually in my cheat sheet. There's actually a lot to this, so I'll start slow. It's a combination of ge and ip. So ge is sesame, ip is leaf. So sesame, leaf. This is actually, it's called the sai shiot. Sai means in between, so it comes in between words, and shiot is just that letter S. So this basically equals this, like connecting together. So it's a leaf of a what did I say? Sesame. It's a leaf of a sesame. Get eep. Now, this, when it's at the end of a syllable, gets pronounced as this. I wrote that in a weird order, but this, it gets pronounced as that. Any syllable at the end of a word that doesn't have, like, not a nasal sound or an sound or whatever, it gets pronounced as this. So, we get this. This is a compound word, again. So it's get, it's basically ge, ui, ip. This is ip, again, leaf. But there is a rule in Korean called the 두음법칙. That's not this one. That would be nian chomga. I was trying to think of the word for a second. That one came first. Nian chomga. So literally nian addition. Nian is just this letter. Where if you have a base consonant that ends in this sound and it comes before a word that starts with this, e, then this becomes nian. So what we get is, it's a very specific rule, but it's in my cheat sheet. It happens with any sound that has E, but it also happens with yo or ya, right? Or you, because that's the same E plus o or a or o. So it's the same thing. But anyway, so we get this. Because of that rule, it only happens between when you combine words together. So we get this. Now then there's the regular sound change rule of a base consonant plus a nasal consonant, nian or miam, which makes this one be pronounced like this. And you're left with 깻잎. It's 100% according to the rules. 100% according to the rules. The only thing that's not according to the rules is some things like when I gave you the example of bus being pronounced as bosse. That's just because it's arbitrary. It has to do with foreign words. They just pronounce them that way. But yeah, 100% according to the sound change rules. 0 exceptions. I do talk about a few exceptions though in that video that'll be coming up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just a bunch of rules being put together. But if you look at it, it's like, what? But if you break it up, it's like, oh, okay. But still, like, that's a lot. It's not because ip was originally lip though. It's actually a different reason. It's simply due to the sound change rule, which makes it become a nian. Although a lot of them originally were that due to tuumboptik, which was the other word I was mentioning. But it doesn't have to be tuumboptik. Okay, that's enough for today. I don't want to take your time. Thank you so much for coming. That is the lesson. Thanks for coming, and I will see you again next time. Remember that I'm not going to be doing classes until I come back from Korea, so I'll see you again in August. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. Oh, and thanks to Lexica, Flo Purdy, and Cosma.